Facebook hasn't changed anything. Facebook has adopted a lot of the concept that were developed by others. I don't see Facebook as a particular, innovative company. It's very different from, let's say, Google, which had invested a lot of money and kind of creative energy in its own developers. The big savior, in a way, the way the industry was saved, was the discovery of the user. So the user was put in the center of the attention, was put in the driver's seat. Facebook is an ordinary social networking site, certainly not the first one. The only thing that it did is that it remained so close to the social life of the ordinary people. This is the power, let's say, of Facebook, which in my view is quite conservative in a way, because it's successful, but it doesn't risk much. Yeah? So what did people start doing? They started talking to each other. And in the beginning, this was not really recognized as a sincere business model. But very soon, Google, Facebook, and others discovered, that you can analyze people's behavior much better if you let them talk to other people. The attention shifted to the interaction between the users themselves. If Twitter means anything, it is really its relation to the news industry that matters. Don't forget that it's mostly journalists and everyone who is somehow related to the news industry who is on Twitter. Many other people who are outside of the news realm, ordinary people, they usually also wouldn't know why to use Twitter. It made it possible for all the players to be in direct contact with each other, and also to do that 24/7 wherever they were. For instance, politicians or celebrities were able to instantaneously respond. Social media, they are so successful precisely because they are not public, in the sense that they close themselves off in these so-called walled gardens, where they shy away from the evil, big, dark, public internet. And this is also precisely why they grew in the beginning, because they provided a certain sense of safety. You find very little real discussion both on Facebook and on Twitter, because the people who really are the opponents, or who want to have a strategic debate, or you would like to bring together to have that debate, they will not meet anyway. There is no alternative to Facebook, for the simple fact that people who develop alternatives think that Facebook is so bad that you shouldn't copy it. And so what we need is a whole other discussion altogether. There were interesting things happening, especially in Tunisia very early on with Twitter. In the case of Egypt, it was Facebook in some circles. They, of course, emphasize the tremendous power and energy that comes from the physical gathering in the squares and on the streets. This is what gave them the real power. And yes, in the background, especially in the beginning of these processes, these media have played an interesting role. In the same way, by the way, as now, for instance in Syria, YouTube still plays an interesting role, because people manage to smuggle out these videos, this very important and shocking video evidence, which then is uploaded to YouTube, distributed, and then we also get to see them on Al Jazeera and also on the other television news channels. These authoritarian regimes, we should not forget, they are very clever, they are not stupid. Yeah? They are constantly monitoring what is happening out there, what the opposition is doing, what movements are doing in neighboring countries. They immediately respond to that. Iran is a very, very good example. If you understand the play of the appearance, the act, and then the disappearance, you would immediately understand that you must have a variety of tools on your display. And that you cannot trust one. The essence of tactical media is that you switch fast and frequently because there's no eternal truth about the kind of inherent, let's say, revolutionary nature of these tools. No, unfortunately not. To be honest, I find the critique of clicktivism a bit cheap. I have, as a tool for activists, very little against, doing online campaigns, and they can put pressure on politicians, and they can, make clear what people's feelings are for a certain topic. Usually these online campaigns, they are part of much bigger campaigns, ongoing campaigns for years and years. So I don't want to reduce a clicktivism. In my book I have a chapter, a kind of internal debate, critique, discussion about the models that WikiLeaks has used. I'm talking there very much about the celebrity status of Julian Assange, the question of his model of the so-called single person organization, the SPO. The SPO is not an NGO. The SPO is really completely centered around this one person. Very often the SPO is not a legal entity. In many countries, NGOs are really regulated and well defined. Often they are foundations or non-profits and so on. But what we see is that the internet in its current incarnation is really bringing forward this model of the SPO, the single person organization. What I emphasize in the case of Anonymous, that it's clearly a response to the celebrity cult around the SPO. They're really very different models. If you think of how Julian Assange is approaching, the mainstream media, and the really strict anonymous approach of these people. If we want to have a real, electronic or network democracy, we need more risk. We need more experimentation. We need to take down the walls of these walled gardens. What internet should do is not hide away, but create public debate. The real challenge for the internet culture in the years ahead, it is the realization that we are out there with many, and that we are, with a multitude of voices, and that this is a serious design challenge to understand and to shape, a rich and diverse internet culture that takes all these different voices into account.